Agnes was, without a doubt, one of the best additions to Wednesday. Among all the new characters introduced in the series, she stood out in a unique way and quickly earned the affection of fans. And that wasn't by chance. Her quiet, almost invisible presence hides a surprising strength. Precisely because she feels on the sidelines, Agnes carries a deep insecurity, the constant need to be seen. When it's revealed that she's actually Wednesday Addams' stalker, everything takes on a new perspective. Her obsessive behavior, which already seemed odd, becomes even more unsettling. Agnes is only 13 years old, much younger than Wednesday and Enid Sinclair, and yet she shows an intense fixation on the protagonist, raising questions about her true motivations. But what really stands out is Agnes's determination and strategic mind. Her plan to steal Wednesday's book and throw it into the fire, followed by the kidnapping of Enid and Bruno to force Wednesday to solve a riddle, reveals just how meticulous and bold she is. The most shocking part? She pulled it all off by herself, something even Wednesday found hard to believe at first. Agnes isn't just a quirky background character. She became an essential part of the plot, defying expectations and adding layers of complexity to the story. Her connection with Wednesday and her silent desire to be seen echoes deeper themes of belonging, even in the midst of a family as iconic as the Addams, with Morticia, Gomez, Pugsley, and Thing. But from that point on, Agnes's fascination with Wednesday Addams becomes even more clear. At least from how I interpret the character, her obsession goes far beyond the events we see unfold. Wednesday didn't just save the entire school, a heroic act that earned her admiration. She also stands out because of her personality, which is completely different from everyone else around her. Wednesday doesn't care about pleasing anyone. She doesn't care about you, me, or anyone's opinion. She cares about herself, and if necessary, she'll go against the world to protect herself and even those she truly cares about. That detached, self-sufficient, antisocial attitude clearly struck something in Agnes. It's as if she saw in Wednesday the version of herself she wished she could become, someone strong, visible, unapologetic. Agnes even says, word for word, that she believed this would be her only chance to no longer be invisible, to finally have a real friendship. Those girls we see hanging out with her, also admiring Wednesday, didn't seem to have any deep bond with Agnes. They were more like acquaintances. This makes it even more disturbing when we realize that Agnes had been obsessed with Wednesday long before any of the mysteries began. The photos she sent to Wednesday's phone, revealing herself as the stalker, were taken way before the main events. She had been following Wednesday from the start, admiring her, wanting to be close, wanting to be like her. She basically turned herself into Wednesday's doormat. And Wednesday, even if unintentionally, benefited from it. Agnes brought her coffee every morning just to get a sliver of attention. She literally became her personal assistant, which says a lot about Agnes's emotional state and how desperately she wanted to matter to someone. Her obsession reached a symbolic peak when she dressed up as Wednesday, trying to mirror her in the hope that Wednesday would see herself in Agnes and maybe, just maybe, they could be friends. But when Wednesday says that it would never work, Agnes breaks down completely. As harsh as that scene felt, it was necessary. Just like it was important when Enid Sinclair, while in Wednesday's body, looked at Agnes and told her that the relationship was toxic and that she was being unbearable. Sometimes you need someone to hit you with the truth, no matter how brutal it sounds, to snap out of it. And in this case, it worked. One of the most heartbreaking scenes is when Agnes joins the student support group. She's not a dismembered hand like Thing, but still feels just as invisible. She doesn't feel like a part of anything, no purpose, no value, just someone that exists in the background, unseen. Another important detail that says a lot about Agnes's character is the fact that she memorized Enid Sinclair's entire dance routine. Just think about that. She wasn't just watching, she was closely observing every move. It wasn't simple admiration, it was constant surveillance. This clearly shows how little of a social life Agnes had. Instead of living her own experiences, she spent all her time fixated on the lives of others, especially Enid and Wednesday. She was always on the outside, watching, never really participating. But everything begins to change after a sincere conversation with Enid. That's when Agnes finally starts to let go of her quiet obsession and begins to embrace her own identity. And the result is striking. At the gala, she shows up wearing a green dress, which was a surprise. I honestly expected her to go with something more in line with Wednesday's aesthetic, like purple or black. But no, she chose green, and it made her stand out in the best way. It was a moment of authenticity, of finally stepping into her own spotlight. Seeing Agnes dancing alongside Enid was one of the best moments, not just because they made peace, but because, for the first time, Agnes seemed genuinely comfortable being herself. And as iconic as Wednesday's dance was in Season 1, I personally enjoyed this one even more. It featured the original choreography to the Lady Gaga song, and watching Agnes fully express herself in that moment was more powerful than I expected. Many fans also connected Agnes's insecurity to her family relationships. We get a brief but telling glimpse of this when her father comes to pick her up from Nevermore. That moment suggests their relationship isn't exactly healthy. There's a certain distance, a lack of connection. It's entirely possible that Agnes feels invisible at home as well, and her supernatural ability became a kind of refuge, a way of coping with constantly being overlooked or ignored. Another important topic worth highlighting is the underlying critique embedded in her character. From the moment Agnes is revealed to be Wednesday's stalker, it was clear there was a deeper message behind her obsession. A comment from one of our subscribers, Cassidy Art, really helped confirm that I wasn't the only one seeing it this way. She wrote, "And finally, the best thing about the character, she represents that idea of some fans saying, 'I'm literally Wednesday.' And in the end, the show sends a message to those fans: don't try to become something you just admire. Be yourself. Discover who you are instead of molding yourself into someone else." And that's exactly it. Wednesday exploded culturally. We've all seen videos of kids going to school dressed like her, imitating her speech and mannerisms, and that's fine on the surface. The issue arises when admiration turns into imitation to the point where someone loses their sense of self. That's what the show explores through Agnes, not just inspiration, but obsession and identity loss. Let's be honest, Wednesday Addams is a brilliant character, but only in fiction. In real life, being around someone so emotionally detached and cold would be incredibly difficult. By using Agnes as a mirror for this kind of extreme fandom, the series brilliantly illustrates how we sometimes shape ourselves around who we admire. Forgetting who we truly are, we stop being authentic and start becoming what we think is acceptable or what we believe others will find interesting. It would have been really interesting to see more interactions between Agnes and Pugsley Addams. I truly believe they could have become great friends. Pugsley also deals with bullying for not fitting into traditional standards, and unlike Wednesday, he's shown to be far more empathetic. He would have genuinely appreciated Agnes's friendship, and let's be honest, he'd probably prefer her over having a zombie as a best friend. Agnes was, without a doubt, the standout of the season. As I've mentioned in previous videos, it was a smart move by the show not to make the Stalker a main villain, but instead someone like Agnes, a character who felt invisible and overlooked, but who had real depth. And thankfully, they didn't turn her into an antagonist either. It was far more compelling to see her involved in the mysteries of Nevermore in a helpful and active way. Her power wasn't just relevant, it's likely to become even more valuable in future storylines. In the first 4 episodes, whether people noticed or not, she completely stole the spotlight, even from Enid at times. A lot of that impact comes from the actress's performance. She was absolutely fantastic, expressive, controlled, and full of nuance. A fun behind-the-scenes detail I found is that she was cast in part because of her large, expressive eyes, chosen specifically to convey that sense of constant observation, that she was always watching everything. And it worked perfectly. I really liked her character and hope to see her even more alongside the main trio. And who knows, maybe she'll even play a part in helping Enid find a way to become fully human again.